Page 10, Sonatina movement number 1. That's what the big I, the 1 and the dot for, it's the first movement. If you look at the bottom of page 11, you see a 2, Roman numeral 2, II, 2. Tarantella, or tarantella, I call it tarantella. You pronounce it however you want to. That's the second movement. So this video covers the first movement, and another video will cover the second movement. So for movement 1, 2/4 time, no sharps or flats. We're in the key of C major. We got 16th notes all over the place, and we're coming in on a pickup measure, a pickup beat. There's only 4 16th notes in that first measure, which is 1 count. Well, we need 2, but if you look at the end, the last measure there on page 11, not the last measure of the page, the last measure of the movement. There's 1 beat in that, so it's good. So first, let's make sure we get the notes and the fingering and all that, and I'm just going to connect everything for now. So starting here, we're kind of in this position, because you see in the next measure, the thumb actually needs to be on the G. It's a little weird, okay, but it's 2E and 2E and 1E and Now, too lazy to keep counting 2E and 1E and 2E and blech. I go 1 and 2 and I know there's 2 16th notes in there. So at the beginning, it's like 2 and we're going to keep moving around here. We sort of have a sequence going, sort of. And we're kind of going up the keyboard. So you're starting here on C, and then you go up to a D, and then you go up to an E, then you come back, measure 5, cross over, and you do that again, sort of. 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. So F sharp there. Cross over. It's actually just a G major scale there. So measure 7 here, and then here. So if you can do your scales, this kind of thing is easy. It comes in handy. Then a measure 9, you have an 8VA starting up. So the notes are written where they have been, except you go up an octave. And you stay up as long as that dashed line is there. So we come, just lift up and go up. And you're staying high, way up high until measure 17 when you're here, and the dashed line ends after that note. So then at the reverse repeat sign, you're coming back down here. And that's a split measure. Did you see that? The split measure on measure 17, the first beat is here, and the second beat of those 16th notes. Here, so it's 2 and 2 and the thumb again, and I recommend on measure 20 you use the thumb on the C. This way you just reach up the octave for the high C here, and then you do that. So measure 23, it's 1 and 2 and, because you're resting on 2, and then you have a G and an A. And I recommend, now how you finger it is up to you, but on measure 24 you have to come here. So 2 and 3 work well. So on measure 23 you're here. If you want to come down to 2 and 3 again, that works out fine. If you want to do 1 and 2, that works out fine, except when you get to measure 24, then you got to do 2 and 3 here. It's up to you on how you finger it. I'll probably just use 2 and 3 to begin with, and then I don't have to deal with it. So measure 24, it's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. And then they're saying for the next measures come down again. We have a rest, so you can 1 and 2. It's a little tricky. Left hand just has the broken chords. You're starting here with C and E. So it's just a C chord, and then you have a B and an F. 8th notes, 1 and 2 and then measure 4, you come up to the F, and then you do it again. Now, when you get to the AVA on measure 9, that's only for the top staff. The left hand doesn't go up. The left hand stays right where it's at. Let's go over to measure 23 in the left hand. Now, the left hand gets a little bit of 16th notes. 2 and F, C sharp. Okay. And then come down. You have a just reach. You can come down here, or you can play it with 5th finger if you want, but use 3rd finger on the next note if you do. Here. That's fine if you want to. And then going on, now you need to lift and go down an octave. Put the hands together here. So you can use these 8th notes as your pulse. And you can go as slow as you need to go, but do what you can to. And I'm still connecting everything. Measure 9, you're here, and then you come up. So forth. So put the hands together. You work on it. And then we can go back and add the slurs and staccatos. When the right hand is slur, staccato, nice light wrist staccato here. And the left hand on these notes, go ahead and connect them. So here you staccato on the right hand, but not the left. Now it's staccato on both hands. Now measure 5. Some people, they will lift up both hands to start the next phrase. Some people, like me, will only lift up the right hand. I'll connect the left hand. So put in the slurs and the staccatos, then we can add the dynamics. And that's really to the right hand for the most part. Moderately loud, whatever you think that is. It's not loud, it's just sort of loud. Left hand, keep it in the background, keep it soft. And you do it that way until you get to measure 9. When you go up, they want this soft. Well, that's a trick. Well, you see, it's easy enough to get soft as you go up higher in the piano. It's easier to get loud as you go down. Problem we have is the hand we want to hear is way up high and it's soft. That makes the left hand have to be very soft, and we have to be aware of it, or it'll overpower the right hand easily. So be aware of on measure 9. When you hear, it's fine. When you come up, this has to be almost so soft you can hardly hear it. Staying that way, and to measure 17, you're ending it here, and you're going to stay soft, but now you're down here. It's a little easier to play it and balance out the hands. And you have a crescendo there. Well, you're going to go all the way up to loud, but don't get loud until measure 20, where the F is. So plan it out. So I think since we have this pattern going on and it's repeating itself in the right hand here, again, I just do each of those patterns a little louder. So the first one is soft, the next one will be moderately soft, moderately loud. Now I'm loud here. So I'll do it that way, and the left hand just stays in the background. Watch out on these accidentals. On 20, it's here, here. That's tricky. May have to work on that. You can do a 1, 2 in the left hand if that, otherwise a 2, 3 if you have really big fingers and fat doesn't work. 2, 3, or the 1, 2 is fine. So I'll leave that up to you. So again, measure 20, you're here. Then you have a diminuendo and measure 22. You're going to go down to about a moderately soft or so. Now you're loud, and this now is for the left hand. The right hand needs to be in the background. So you want to hear the left hand. That's it. All the way to the end. Here. Actually, at the end, you can bring both hands out. The last 3 measures or so. You actually got to get to know it well enough that you can feel the dynamics, because it's like at the beginning, moderately loud until measure 9. Well, you're not going to stay exactly moderately loud through all that. You can get a little louder than that or softer. You're just staying in that area. But get to know it so you can feel it. Then we think about the speed, allegro. Well, remember the speed or the tempo is not necessarily the speed of the beat. It's the flow of the piece. This needs to feel fast. Well, with 16th notes, the speed isn't going to be that big. I mean, the beat isn't going to... But those 16th notes have to be controlled and even. So your allegro is going to be different than mine, probably. And so you have to take it, find the hardest part in the piece. Maybe it's the measure 20 part. Or maybe it's starting at 23 when the left hand gets it. Maybe that's your hard part. Whatever the hard part is, how fast you can play that correctly is how fast you can go at the beginning. And you've got to maintain the same speed throughout pretty much. To play this with you very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do the dynamics. So I'll give us 3 counts because we come in on beat 2. I will do the slurs and the staccatos, and we'll do the repeat there on page 11. So be ready for that. Now, because we have 8th notes all over the place in the left hand, I put the metronome on 8th notes. So it's beating 8th notes. So I'll give us 3 quarter note counts though. There's nothing confusing about that. It's just when I say ready to go, then you go. So I'm going to go 1 and ready and go and. That's how we'll do it. 1 and ready and go and. And